Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. By the way, I had to work in the middle of my holidays, so I'm actually in an hotel right now. That's why the different setup. But I hope you guys are doing very well, and I brought all my gear. Make sure that I would keep you updated. I'm trying to make videos. At least they know. Basically, giving a little 1 day interval between both. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel, so thank you very much for your support. Now, TLT, the bonds are above 100. They keep on improving and stabilizing and slightly increasing. As I've mentioned, there is the pendulum of the market, and you can have disconnects momentarily. You can have downfalls momentarily. That's all possible. However, the stability of that market is more importantly longer term. Stocks are rebounding. Once again, I mentioned in my previous video, we were testing some key support areas. So far, we are bouncing from them. Does it mean the sell-off is over? Not necessarily. You can still have some sell-off. However, it was good to see that everybody was panicking and that basically we were seeing video upon video about the next Great Depression, about another stock market crash, about the Japanese carry trade part 2, about all of the above. You had Peter Schiff making a podcast talking about the potential Black Monday again. So the type of things that you like to see when you're approaching the end of certain corrections. Now, once again, what is happening is we are tending to move higher, but we do have more volatility, and the corrections which are necessary tend to be harsher in nature. Not necessarily, we end up going into the place that we wanted, retesting certain moving averages, the 50 weekly, the 50 daily, the 200 weekly, the 200 daily, etc., etc. However, instead of taking like a week to get there, we get there in 1 or 2 days. So the sell-offs get much more abrupt, right? That's a symptom of the fakery of the currency. The more fake the dollar, the euro, and the other currencies will become, the more of these sharp corrections and retests you'll see. Now, does that mean that September from now on is going to be green? Not necessarily. It can easily be red. If you actually, for example, in the case of Bitcoin, if you take the typical downside of a September month, that would be about 6-7%, which means it would be about Bitcoin somewhere 54-55K. So if Bitcoin finishes the month there, perfectly possible. If it finishes in the green, also perfectly possible, because as I've mentioned, this has been the cycle of front running, meaning everybody knows Q4 is extremely strong. So basically you can have people front running it, particularly starting the second half of September. One of the major things is, of course, if Trump destroys Kamala tomorrow, that would be, I think, for risk assets very good. I think if he gaps up in his difference in terms of distance in the polls, it would also be viewed, I think, positively by the market. However, it's always a volatile time period. The key remains: is liquidity increasing? Is the liquidity index going up as expected? Yes, it is, and accelerating. Is the bond market stable? Will the Fed print money? Or will the Treasury issue money, create money basically indirectly or directly by the Fed? Will all of those things happen? As long as the answer is yes, I am not concerned. When would I be concerned? Let's say we finish Q4. Basically, Q4 is a complete disaster, right? That would cause me to be a bit more concerned, because that would be a full departure of previous cycles. Now, what I want you to understand, and this is very important, because this has a very nefarious effect. But by the way, let's go back a little bit. I watched something from Somi, from your friend Somi. Shout out to him. And he is right on something, which is you have the Bitcoin halving, then you have the sell-off period, and when you hit extreme fear during that sell-off, 12 months later, you have the top in the market. We hit extreme fear last week and a little bit at the end of August. If you fast forward 12 months, that is August to September 2025. You've been asking me when do I think the top will be. I've been saying at the moment I'm still tilted towards Q3 2025. August, September fits within that range. Sometimes it's funny how these things happen. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking at Q3 2025. But the reality is, I think once you cross Q1 2025, you start looking for potential top signals. Things like some news that is so positive that makes Jim Cramer go wild and do an entire episode on crypto, or basically saying that crypto is about to overtake gold, where Peter Schiff is crying on the floor, completely destroyed, where Michael Saylor is going extra turbo leverage on Bitcoin, when basically there's something so positive that it needs to be the top. Now, I think in the next cycle, we probably won't go down 77% like this one. We'll probably go down on Bitcoin maybe somewhere between 50 to 60% as the asset matures. I see that as a possibility. What can change that? I mean, of course, if the US says we're going to start buying 1,000 Bitcoin, 5,000 Bitcoin a month forever, regardless of the price, then of course, these kind of things can change, but we will have time to look at it. We are nowhere close to euphoria, and nothing, to be honest, is truly different or has changed. Now the issue, and props to Somi for being, a very cold analyst on the situation, just saying, look, we've been here before, we've had extreme fear post the halvings, and when we hit extreme fear, like we just did, 12 months later, you have the top. That happened in 2016, that happened in 2020. Will it happen in 2025? In 2024 into 2025? We'll see. Now the key is, if the conditions remain unchanged, I see very little reason to believe that this time will be different, materially speaking. I think the mentality of people is the same. I think the liquidity cycle has so far been the same. So I see no reason why that should be different. But here is the problem. We hit extreme fear. So if you go on YouTube, what do you see? You see the main channels like Discover Crypto, like Crypto Banter, with burning thumbnails talking about crypto 30K, Bitcoin 30K, talking about Ethereum 1,000, talking about the end of the world. And then if you actually watch the video, they don't tell you if it's the end of the world or not. The issue is that, why do they do that? It's because the sentiment is bearish. So people want to see bearish stuff because they're concerned. So if you're an existing investor, what those type of videos actually do is either they convince you to sell, either you ignore, but most definitely new people watch it and say, yeah, I don't want to touch it. Now, the reason why they're doing it is twofold. Number one is because it's what gets them views and potentially helps you or convinces you to buy whatever they're selling you. Number two is so less people get the gains. So you see, if next month we explode in October, if we have a Pumptober like we usually have, these same people will only have thumbnails where with Bitcoin predictions to $1 million. Of course, the people coming in will lose the first 50% on Bitcoin or the first 75% on Ethereum. They'll just lose it. But the point remains the same. The idea is now, because crypto is going up, so everybody's happy, is now you hire those people as a guide for your success. The point is, these people will tell you anything that the sentiment is. Now, the key to succeed in crypto is to many times position yourself against the sentiment. So, for example, when you have extreme fear, your first thought is sell. When you have extreme greed, your first instinct is buy. The opposite is what helps you. When you have extreme fear and you buy, you'll probably do well. When you have extreme greed and you sell, you'll probably do very well again. They will feed you whatever your worst instincts want to hear in order to get YouTube ad revenue and hopefully you subscribing to whatever service, monthly service they're selling you. Does this help you? No, at all. It helps them, but not you. But that doesn't matter because they're not here to help you. That's why they sell you stuff. They're here to sell you things. For example, in the legacy world, if you will, you have someone like Peter Schiff or Harry Dent who sell you funds, but they never tell you the performance of them. The reason why they don't tell you is because if you find out, you don't buy it. Right? It's very simple. And nobody challenges and nobody asks them, hey, you've had funds for a long time. What's your track record? They don't ask it because the people making the interview, like David Lin or Kitco News, they know that if they invite that person, they will get millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views. So they sell themselves for views. So the mainstream media sells themselves for money, corporate money. The YouTube finance media sell themselves for views. It's the same sell-off. It's just different. Everything you see on YouTube, or almost everything, is tailor-made to play with your worst emotions and drive you to do things which work against you. So you keep coming back or you keep buying those services because next time you will succeed if you follow these gurus. Of course, the opposite is completely true. I don't know one single crypto millionaire that's become a millionaire by buying a mastermind group. However, they explode, particularly during the bull market, like wildfire. And you need to be aware of this. I'll keep it a bit shorter today. Thank you very much for your support. Drop that like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.